Namaste. Spita de Aslan. I want to express myself now about a big subject. Liberating the soul under fascism. We need to have a functional definition of what the soul is. We can call it the spirit, we can call it the psyche, and just like God, we never have a complete definition. So understand that the soul is beyond the body. It is before the body. It is after the body. The soul, to me, can be eternal. We came into the world with a soul, and when we leave this planet, Earth, we'll go out with our soul. I believe we can reincarnate into another physical form. Even the concept of belief, or a belief system, a BS system. And it can be bullshit, or it can be a belief system. What we believe actually creates a biology in our brain. It creates neural pathways. It creates synapses, and it actually can change the architecture of our brain. So when people talk about, the soul's liberation, there is so much propaganda that's out there, and propaganda can be positive or negative. So right there, the concept of propaganda, you think, ooh, propaganda bad. Where does that come from? Propaganda is a series of ideals, that are propagated, that are shared, that are put out here. So in the USA, we're subjected to what I consider to be fascist propaganda. And we need to be aware of what we already have ingested into our belief system without conscious awareness. When I speak of liberation of the soul, or liberating the soul, I'm not talking about fantasy stuff. I'm talking about really freeing our soul of the lies, of the dogma, of the philosophies, of the ideologies that block the creation of new forms of consciousness, the creation of new ideals, of new synapses. So, under fascism, as we have now, we are constantly bombarded by the media, by other people who have ingested the fascist propaganda and want you to believe their crap. That we live in a democracy in the USA. That President Obama is a really cool guy. That just need to just lift yourself up by your bootstraps and everyone out for himself, and take care of yourself and forget the others. See, all that's part of the fascist programming, that could have started when we were a child. What were your parents' political beliefs? You know, did your parents talk about consciousness? You know, or did you learn that word later on? Why or why not? So in the process of liberating our soul, we have to understand that we need to liberate the world from oppression, liberate the world from the endless exploitation that many suffer from every day. You know, in the misery of poverty, in the terror of tyranny, and see that if you really want to be free, if you really want to be liberated, you must liberate the world you live in. We're not talking about, you know, sure, you could be liberated to a degree in your mind, but if you're doing life in prison, in a cage, remember Leonard Peltier, it's going to be impossible for you to be fully liberated. To be liberated is to be free to go where you want, do what you want, and to have the freedom to move about planet Earth with responsibility that you do no harm, that you obey the Ten Commandments, basically. You know, though I'm not stuck in that Christian mode either. You know, I'm first and foremost a humane being. So as we strive for liberation, we get involved in liberation movements and say we support Idle No More, we support Occupy Wall Street and all this. Let's not lose sight of the need to liberate our souls too. To do personal spiritual work, to get rid of our character defects, to improve our own humane character, to see ourselves as being humane or striving to be humane. Not just a carnivorous human animal, but be truly humane, having care, concern, and compassion for others, seeing that poor brother in the street, you know, sleeping in a doorway at night, that's our brother. That poor sister in the street peddling her pussy, that's our sister. And people will do what they need to do to survive. So we need to look at not just the phony legalism of stuff, but look at the high crimes that are going on. The high crimes involving engaging in an unjust war. If a U.S. soldier joins the military and because that's a job that he can get, instead of working at McDonald's, that still makes him a mercenary. He's a bought-off paid killer. You know, so we need to look at stuff deeper than the surface level and understand that none of us can be fully liberated until we're all liberated, until we're all able to live in a free world, in peace, in harmony with each other. So let's continue to do what we can to work on building up the liberation movement, online, offline, and in line with our spirits, and continue to work on our own inner liberation. It's a balance. You know, it's a balance. And remember to try not to escape into irrelevant stuff. We must keep in mind that we are a trinity of the mind, body, and the soul. That even after any global revolution, which is a long-term strategic aim, it's not going to happen this Friday. We need to see that what's really wrong with humanity is ourselves. Our character defects, our greed, our obsessions, our addictions. On a global level, look at the addiction to oil, that has caused so much havoc in the world. Comprehend, how can we have free energy, and not have to rely upon oil. There are already inventions out there that the U.S. government has kept locked down because the whole economy is so tied into corporate profits for energy systems involving oil. So look at the whole situation in terms of, we're under oppression, we're under fascism, and we can be free to a limited degree, to a point. And then eventually we have to look at the big world, at connected reality, and see, hey, we got to change something beyond just our mighty mind and beyond our spirit mumble gumbo. And we got to transform this sick situation. Look at connected reality as something to be understood, changed, and transformed. So it's not simply a matter of the accumulation of a bunch of knowledge, but it's also a matter of having the wisdom to apply that knowledge into transforming connected reality. Unless we are involved or integrated in transforming connected reality, how can we call ourselves wise at all? If you're in a cage, no matter how smart you are, you want to be making a plan of action to get out of that cage, to be free, to be liberated. So since you cannot do that alone, you need to make allies with others. You need to galvanize a global movement that can help guide people towards total liberation. Yet understand that even after the Lord willing, if there is global revolution, hopefully by peaceful means, but by any means necessary, understand that the big struggle after that will be the one for new healthy relationships between us that are based upon our mutual interests, not based upon our selfish greed. And there are great powerful forces working against the forces of liberation. We got to do more than just post crime reports about this wrongdoing or that wrongdoing. We need to look at, well, what can we do on the local level? For starters, I believe we need to work on ourselves. That means if you're an alcoholic, sober up. If you're a dope fiend, sober up. If you're trapped in your own character defects, correct them. Because we need to arm ourselves with the truth. Overcome our obstacles. Recognize what is crippling us and try to get straight. So in other words, it's not just a matter of overthrowing the government, then we're in charge and it's going to be all good. No. Any kind of global revolution would just be the basis for building a truly humane society where people can work and grow and play and express themselves without fear. Fear is a major force in the world. Now with the NSA revelations, thanks to our brother Edward Snowden, and other revelations by other people, there's more of a public awareness of what's coming down, or what has already come down. Yet there's also a passive, obedient slave acceptance of it. Well, they're not bugging me, so what the hell? As long as I can go to the store and get my liquor, I'm cool. And it's going to knock on your door sooner or later. No one gets out of here alive. Instead of trying to escape from connected reality in terms of various forms of entertainment, etc., we need to get engaged in connected reality. Are you registered to vote? Are you in a progressive party? Do you belong to a book club? What are you doing with your life to help yourself and in the process help others? So we really need to examine ourselves and not put so much store in the mind. The mind is grossly overrated. We need to work on our spiritual growth, our spiritual evolution, and understand that the mind itself cannot tap into all of the power of the Spirit. That may be in your subconscious. As you go deeper into your subconscious, you may reach a plateau of cosmic consciousness, where your spirit or your psyche understands that we're all in this together. And if we're all going to be truly free in actual connected reality in the physical environment, we need to overthrow all those obstacles to our freedom, including the evil empire, plus overthrow our own character defects, overthrow our own remnants of evilness. So the struggle is out in the external world, but it's also within in the internal world. So understanding that there is really only one world, not 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. There's one world. I'm living on planet Earth. Now maybe you might be in another world, you might be from somewhere else, but as for me, I recognize that I'm here on planet Earth. That my freedom is intimately bound up with your freedom. My liberation is inherently connected to your liberation. If I want to be free and liberated, I need to help liberate and free all of the family of humanity. Beyond the ego, individual self-identity. I need to identify with all who suffer, with all who go hungry, with all who are stranded out in the streets of the biggest, richest country in the world. So, if you really want to liberate your soul, help liberate the family of humanity. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Power to the people.